Alt Rock Radio Now is recorded and produced at Music City Studio in Kelowna, BC. Music City Studio is a recording studio and rehearsal space that also hosts jam nights and runs workshops and courses. Visit musiccitystudio.ca for more details. Touring musicians welcome. Hello and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Alt Rock Radio Now, or R Now as we like to call it around here, like frustrated pirates.
What?
My name is Vincent Jones, but you guys can call me Vince, you're more than welcome to. And I'm joined here in cozy Music City Studio by my co-host Valaura Vedan, the exotically named Valaura Vedan, and Mike Pedersen. He's a gentleman, let's say that. And I now know how to say his name correctly, which is awesome.
Took a while, but you got it.
We got there in the end. We're excited to bring you another episode this week, and as usual we've got a great selection of tunes from a lovely group of acts lined up for you, as well as some chit chat and general silliness, which we've already kicked off, I think, with this little intro. How are you guys doing? You doing all right?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Good. Mike, I know you've been busy in the studio lately. Have you got any cool projects?
There's a few things. Just before this, I've actually got some students that are here, so I've been kind of busy teaching. I've got a single on the go with a band from Vernon called Emmett, and I've got a local guy named Gordon James getting ready to come in. There's all kinds of stuff. I can't even think of it all off top. But yeah, I'm keeping busy, so it's good.
Busy. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I didn't say I was going to ask you that question, so I sort of threw you on the spot
there.
Sorry, man.
I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody important, but yeah.
It's like an Oscar speech.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into our first song for this week's show, I guess. It comes from an unsigned Canadian act called the Northern Dancers. What a great name for a Canadian band. On the band's Bandcamp page, they've got a little description, and it says, "The Northern Dancers is the recording alias of singer-songwriter J.P. Borchardt," and I hope I'm saying your name right, J.P. there, "bouncing between full band, alternative rock, and solo acoustic tracks. The Northern Dancers released its debut self-titled 5-song EP in February of 2012, followed by an acoustic 3-song EP in January 2014 entitled Codetta. And the song we're going to listen to today is a title track from that recently released EP. Here is Codetta.
When I sleep at night, I close my eyes real tight. Projecting at the back of my brain are images of us that still remain the same. And I try to let go, but I can't, so I don't. And I try to let go, but I can't, so I don't. When you look at me, tell me, what do you see? Your worst friend or your best foe? Or the lowest of the low? And I try to let go, but I can't, so I don't. And I try to let go, but I can't, so I don't. A heartbeat cold and slow,
once again, that song was Codetta, and it came from the Northern Dancers. I hope you guys enjoyed that song as much as I did when I first heard it. Now, this is the 9th episode of Alt Rock Radio now, and I've got to say, personally, I'm really pleased with how the show's going so far. We've had some great feedback. However, we would love to reach more ears and give the music a wider audience, and that's where you guys, the listeners out there, can help. Please share the show, tell your friends, invite your buddies to like us on Facebook. We're almost at 200 likes now, which is a little milestone that we're shooting for over the next little while here. So, all that good stuff, you can really help us out. And you may not know this, but we all invest our own time and in some cases our own our own money into this project. And while we're hoping to get some paying sponsors down the road, we ultimately do this because it's something that we're really passionate about. And we wouldn't be sitting here recording at 10 p.m. on or gone 10 p.m. on a weekday night after a full day at work if we weren't. Like, we're all giving it into this project. And I don't really know where I'm going with this, aside to say that, we just want you to know that we really care about the music and we're all music lovers, and we really hope the show reflects that and that we're able to shine a light on some talented bands that, deserve more exposure than they're getting right now. So I know we joke around quite a bit and say some outrageous things, but we really do hope that you're enjoying the show. And if you are, please share, let people know what's going on, tell them about the show, and thank you for listening. We really do appreciate it. And mushy, un-English outburst aside, maybe we should move on. Do you guys have anything you want to add to that?
I was just going to say on top of that, I think we said this before too, if you're finding bands that you like, make sure you reach out to them and let them know that you like them and buy their music or do what you can to kind of support them, because that's what our hopes are with this thing, is to help bands and help them reach a wider audience. So
totally. And actually, that's one thing that sort of along those lines I'd like to speak to a bit. We've not had too many suggestions from people out there for bands yet, and I know that there's tons of music lovers who are listening to the show who know loads of bands in their local communities, and we'd love to hear about them. Messages on Facebook, just send us a post, whatever you want to do, but we'd love to hear about the bands that you recommend for the show.
For sure.
Yeah. Speaking to that a little bit, I think that maybe perhaps for some of you out there in listener land, that you have this perception that we are all ultimate hipsters and we know of like every unsigned alternative act across the world and you have nothing to contribute. Trust me, that's not the case. Like, every week I'm spending like an hour and a half on Bandcamp just to find one great track from a band that's unsigned or is maybe underexposed. So that perception that we are somehow ultimate music gurus is not true. Please feel free to help us.
The facade is smashed. Cool. Well, I think with that, we'll get into some more music. I think that's a good segue for that. And our next song this week comes from Csek Campbell. And Jack's an alt-pop rock singer-songwriter based in Chicago. And he was picked up by a record label in his native Minneapolis when he was still a sophomore in high school. So that's pretty cool. And he hopes to have a full-length album on the way this year. And the song we're going to listen to today comes from his most recent release, and it's a little sample of what we might be able to expect on his full length. It's called What It Takes, and once again, it comes from Csek Campbell.
Without a warning, but I don't wanna let you down or let you
So once again, that song was What It Takes from Jack Campbell. I should say as well, Jack sometimes plays with his buddies, Jimmy and Nate, and together when they're all playing as a trio, they make up the Skeleton Keys. So that's just an FYI. I don't want to leave those guys out and make them feel underappreciated. Anyway, now, if you've been listening to the show religiously, you probably don't know this about me, but I do enjoy cerebral pursuits. Yes, believe it or not, I do like academic things.
No, not Dumb and Dumber's #1 fan.
Well, as V, you'll know, I love history, and Mike, you might even know that too. It's what I studied in university, and it's just something I'm really passionate about, and I really enjoy. And it's just, it's not something that I studied in university because I thought, oh, I'll get a job as a historian. It was just something that I studied because I was like, oh, I enjoy it, and we'll see where this goes. And anyway, that's a different train. I don't need to go on that. But my point is, where I'm going with this is, I was thinking to myself, new feature for the show. We could have like this day in music history.
Cool, yeah.
So obviously we're recording this on the Wednesday. It's going to come out tomorrow, so that's the 23rd. So I went on the internet, as I am wont to do, and I found a couple of stats or little facts about January 23rd. As it happens, it's not a very interesting day. But I'd gone far enough to Google it and look around, and I was like, well, screw it, it's going on the show now. So hopefully there will be more interesting days than this one. But what I've got two little facts here. 1997, the movie Spice World was released in the United States on January 23rd. I know, Mike, that you remember that day very well because you were stood in line with you.
Was there, camped overnight.
And then one that's a little cooler, 1986, the first annual induction ceremony for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was held
that's cool.
in New York City. So that's pretty sweet. Anyway, that's where I'm going with that. I don't have any more interesting facts, but if anybody else knows any, or you find any online for January 23rd, why you would be looking that up, I don't know. Feel free to send them in. We'd be happy to hear them.
I don't have any music facts, but the other night I was just messing around online and I got to this thing that was like, what national holiday shares your birthday or whatever. And it's not an official holiday, but apparently my birthday is recognized as National Beheading Day.
Nice.
It's pretty cool, eh? Do you know what mine was?
No. National
Escargot Day.
Oh, I do enjoy escargot.
Yeah, but I mean, beheading versus escargot, like, mine's so lame. It's almost fitting in a way, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, I guess maybe we should move on now after that. I wonder what Mike's is. Mike,
I don't know.
When is your birthday?
April 9th.
April 9th.
Mark it down on your calendars, ladies.
When we listen to the next one, we'll look it up.
We'll look it up. Actually, I want to do something else while we have the next song on as well. And I'm going to come to you for your pick in a second. But I just want to say, when I was messing around online, I did stumble across Stereo Gum. They have a list of, in their opinion, the 100 most anticipated albums of 2014. And I saw it and I thought, oh, that'll be great for the show. So I've got the list here on my laptop. And we'll post it up on our social media as well, probably over the weekend. So you guys out there listening can take a look at the list and see what we were looking at. But what we'll do while V's track's playing and we're listening to it, we'll take a look at this list as well and we'll look up what Mike's unofficial national day is. So lots of fun to come after this song. And V, do you want to let us know what you've got?
Yeah, for sure. This week I want to play a track for you guys from a guy named Rolla Olak. Very, very cool name. I don't know if that's real or not, but I kind of hope it is. Anyway, the track is called Waiting for You.
But I don't mind. letters she writes. I can see your silhouette standing, babe, under big city lights. And I know I shouldn't be here, 'cause she whispers to me, oh, time has come for us to decide just who we're gonna be, yeah. But I don't mind waiting for you, hey. Waiting for you, babe. Waiting for, yeah, waiting for you, babe. 1, 2, you. Waiting for you, babe. Waiting for you, babe. I'm waiting for you. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
So that was Rolla Olak with Waiting for You.
Cool. So we did do our little internet messing around, and V, I believe you have the scoop on April 9th, Mike's birthday.
Yes. April 9th is also known as Winston Churchill Day and Name Yourself Day.
See, again, way cooler than escargot. Sorry, man.
I think escargot day is pretty cool, actually.
I'll trade you.
We can trade, sure.
Does that mean that, like, on your birthday, you should get a big pile of escargot with just candles jammed in the top?
Maybe, I guess.
You know what you're getting this year.
Celebration.
I don't know. I feel like there's a joke there about bringing people out of the shell. You know, escargot. God, my jokes are so bad.
Yeah. Maybe we should talk about the next thing.
You have like a fancy dress party, a costume party, and everybody comes over dressed as snails, escargot, but nobody's talking to one another. They're all wallflowers because nobody's coming out of the shell. Apart from the one slimy guy in the corner.
No salted food is allowed. Everything must be salt-free.
We should, yeah, exactly. We should move on to the part that has musical integrity of this segment, the stereo gum list we looked at. And we all just sort of scanned it. We haven't paid a great deal of attention to it. There's 100 bands listed on there who are expected to have albums coming out in 2014, already have them scheduled. Maybe Stereo Gum's heard a rumor that one's on the way. So, you know, it's not exactly a scientific list, but it's interesting to look at. The ones that stick out to me, first and foremost, Death Cab for Cutie apparently may have an album on the way this year. Best Coast is another one. There is Julian Casablancas, who may have an album on the way this year. Modest Mouse, Grimes, and then the one that people are probably going to laugh at, Taylor Swift. And I know that, Mike, you were pretty stoked about that one when you saw it. Don't deny it. Now, everyone loves a good bit of T-Swizzle. So
that's right.
Apparently she's got an album on the way this year. So apparently there's a breakup in Taylor Swift's future.
I think it's just happened. I think that's why there's an album.
Ah, okay.
That's what the deal is there.
What about you guys?
I I looked very quickly, but there's a couple that jumped out, and U2 is one of them. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm always interested to kind of see what they put out. And then Johnny Cash, which it sounds like you guys know more about. It sounds like it's unreleased stuff.
Yeah. So the Johnny Cash album that's due to come out, it's coming out in like, I think a month. And there's a track out on YouTube already. So we'll get that posted up there on Facebook for you guys. But basically what happened is Johnny Cash, he recorded an album, essentially, right before Columbia Records dropped him. So his son, the son of Johnny and June Carter, he was going through a bunch of their things after everybody passed on, and he came across like a whole bunch of these recordings, and so now they're being released. So if I'm not mistaken, it should be a full-length album.
Cool.
And the first song is just so good.
So cool.
I'm excited. I haven't heard it yet, so
it's a good song.
Once we're done here, I'm gonna play it for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Good stuff, guys.
Yeah.
What else? We didn't go over yours.
I know. I almost screwed up there because you were talking about Johnny Cash. I was thinking you'd already touched on it, but sorry, you haven't mentioned.
No. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about other stuff that I like that isn't cool kid music. Maybe it's cool kid music. I think it's cool kid music, but I have, I'm judgment, whatever. Apparently Lily Allen is going to be coming out with a new album, and I'm kind of really excited about that. I really, really loved her first one, and it's so like. Yeah, it's just so quirky and like fun, but not in like a vapid fun way. And Pharrell is also somebody that's on that list, and he's just such a musical genius and producer, and it'll be really interesting to see who he's working with on that album, and if they're who makes guest appearances, because it doesn't matter whether you're into classic rock or hip hop or pop music. Pharrell is one of those people that like you want to work with because he just does really, really cool shit.
Cool. Any more?
No, that's it.
Awesome.
I think we're all a little bit slow tonight. It's a little late for this, I think.
A little bit S-card going here.
It's a little late, and the water in my cup just isn't cutting it, Needs to be something a little stronger. A little escargot. I think I like that description, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway. You can find Alt Rock Radio Now on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Alt Rock Radio Now on Facebook and ARR Now on Twitter. So when you're looking for us on Twitter, just think of the pirate intro that I did at the beginning. that'll remind you. And then just look for our full name there on Facebook. Changing the subject a little bit, the Grammys are coming up. I think they're this weekend.
I think so, yeah.
And one of the big buzz topics leading in here is the fact that Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr might be doing a little bit of playing together there at the Grammys, which is really cool. And Mike, I'm thinking you'd be pretty jazzed about that because I know you've seen Paul McCartney before. I was wondering if you've seen him the one time, right? Because the reason I ask is I've got a buddy who has seen them has seen Paul McCartney, something like 4 or 5, 6 times. Wow. So I was like, is that Mike or is that my other?
No,
friend?
I've only seen him once.
Okay, was it a good show though?
Yeah, it was. That was big for me. Beatles, I go like very early age for me, right? So to see him live was cool.
I think the Beatles are going to be a big deal, in a few years.
A few years.
I can see them taking off.
Yeah.
Cool. Give them time.
Yeah. I think it's like that internet thing. I think it's just going to get huge in a few years. Like, I'll shut up. Mike, I believe you've actually done your homework this week and you have a song pick.
I did. It's a bit of a surprise, actually.
Oh.
I don't remember what episode it was, but we talked about shitty band names, and I gave you a whole list and talked a bit about my band. So I thought you said you kind of hinted at maybe hearing an Unknown Culprits track. So I think we're going to play one today.
Amazing.
Yeah. So this one, I think we recorded it in like 2006 or something like that. So it's a while back. This song never had much of a life outside of the studio. It was sort of one that was written and recorded right away and never really worked outside of the studio. So it sort of just lived and died right there. We tried it a couple times and it never worked. But it's called Congrats on the Divorce. So we'll check it out.
Nice. Celebrate.
social list been getting long. You've been getting lazy, all that dope you're on. That girl, she went too far. There was no need to key your car. I think you're better off without doubt. I'm glad you got out. Congratulations on the divorce. All the best to you in the courts. Save all your money for child support. She takes the kids to take the boat. Ride that boat. Anyway, got sucked in for a steady lay. Won't I stand there, she stayed. Well, I'm glad you finally got away. So I sing congratulations on the divorce. And all the best to you in the course. Save all your money for child support. Takes the kids, you take the boat. You take the boat. Stop to wonder what went wrong. No sense whining, no sense whining that she's gone. Let her be on, whoever she is on. Congratulations, all the best to you. Save all your money. She takes the kids to take the boat.
That was Congrats on the Divorce from the Unknown Culprits.
Lovely. I think you should say that again because I don't think you gave it the full. You weren't quite, give it the radio announcer.
That was Congrats on the Divorce from the Unknown Culprits.
There you go. That's what it deserves. I have to say, I like the guitar work there.
Yeah, no, that's Gary. He's a phenomenal guitar. The song itself is more of a joke than anything, and that's why I think it died in the studio and never went any further. But yeah, kind of fun anyways.
I think the drum work is my favorite part, Mike.
Oh, why, thank you.
Also, there's something about in there that it just triggered in my head Gold Digger. So it's like that was playing, but in the back of my head, all I'm hearing is, she take my money. And I'm like, nice, that's amazing.
Such a sweet song. I love that song. Anyway, that's interesting. I never got that from it, but that's cool.
Yeah, divorce. She's taking the money for child support.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She takes kids, you take the boat. Not a bad deal, right?
Golden. I probably shouldn't have said that. If you're wondering where you can find the bands that we have on the show, you can find them on social media. So what we do after every episode when it comes out is we announce it and then we tag the bands on our Facebook page. So head on over to our Facebook page, like us, and you can find links to all the bands from there. So that's the thing to do. Another interesting thing that came out of the rock world recently, we've talked about some albums that are, potentially coming out over the next year here. Another interesting thing that I saw was the Strokes. They are going to be reuniting to play at the New York City Governor's Ball this year. Now, it's a big deal because it's the first time they've played together since 2011. And I don't know about you guys, but I love the Strokes.
Yeah, likewise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm pretty pumped about that. And actually, that along with the McCartney Ringo Starr thing that I've mentioned already means that the Strokes and the Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney thing, God, what am I saying? Would have been great for the episode when we talked about band reunions and
would
getting
have
back together. Damn, I should have made that work. I should have connected those dots.
Way to go.
But another cool thing I saw, and in fact, it's the coolest thing as far as I'm concerned. It was announced recently that Morrissey has signed a 2-record contract with Capitol Records. Now, if you're a Morrissey fan, you'll know this already, but if not, he's been without a deal for some time now. So it's a huge thing that he's back in the saddle and going to be recording an album, and he's getting to it pretty quick here. He's starting recording in Paris in early February. So hopefully we'll have some new material from him pretty soon, which I am just thrilled about.
I bet.
I doubt we'll be able to get permission from Capitol to play a Morrissey track on the show.
Probably not.
We can all go on Google and listen to it there. So it's
not
exciting
gonna,
times either
It
way.
won't stop us from sharing the tracks on Facebook when they come out.
That's true, actually. That's true. Anyway, our next song this week comes from a guy who also appeared on our old show, the Music City podcast. His name's Connor Roff, and he's an unsigned indie rock singer-songwriter originally from the UK, but he's now living in Vancouver. And Connor's got a self-titled debut EP coming out on January 31st, and for those of you down in Van, he's having a bit of a release party at the Media Club at 7 p.m. on the 31st as well, so go check that out if you can. And the song we're going to listen to comes from Connor's upcoming release. It's called Home Is Where My Heart Lies.
I'm split between the pull of my heart and the tug of my mind. I've been here before, it's not the first time I've questioned my thoughts and rambled these lines. Walk me down that familiar road to a place I belonged to so long ago. Young, wild, I danced there free, different to the place that I now only see. But what will I find following the pull of my heart? Will the grass be so green? Back at the start, would my heart skip a beat at the magic found there? Or will my love be cut short, left incomplete? Home is where my heart lies. Well, home is where my paths collide. I'm torn between two different lives. One more of a dream, but still part of my pride. My home only lies between both of my sides. What will I find following the pull of my heart? Will the grass be so green? Back at the start, would my heart skip a beat at the magic found there? Or will my love be cut short, left incomplete? Home is where my heart lies. Home is where my paths collide. Oh, home is where my heart lies. Oh, home is where my paths collide. Oh, home is where my heart lies. And home is where my heart lies.
So that song was Home Is Where My Heart Lies from Connor Roff. Mike, when we came in the studio here tonight, we caught you doing something.
You busted me.
You were listening to Miley Cyrus.
That's right.
Do you want to elaborate?
Yeah, it's I think it was from the summertime or something like that, and it's like I think they were calling it the Backyard Sessions, and it's a cover of her doing Jolene, and yeah, I was kind of curious what you guys thought of it, because there's a lot. Well, obviously she's been in the news like crazy lately and doing all kinds of whatever, right?
I love how you twisted that around.
Well, I'll come back to it. I think it's a great track, and if she was doing more stuff like that, I'd probably buy an album. I thought it was excellent. And then there was another one, Summertime Sadness, that I showed you from, it was like a BBC thing that was also live and unplugged. And I think she has a pretty amazing voice. She's very talented. And I think it's kind of too bad that she does the things that she does just for extra. I don't know what she's trying to get out of it. But I think it's unfortunate, because just alone like that, I think she sounds great. And if she was to put out an album that was more like that, I think it would be amazing.
Well, I'll just level with you, actually. When we first walked through the door, I could hear Jolene playing, and obviously we couldn't see your screen or whatever.
Yeah.
And my initial kind of thought was that you must have been working on something just because, you're in the studio.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is good. I wonder who, like, I was assuming someone local had recorded it. I was like, oh, this is good. I wonder who's recorded this. So I'd like to find out. I'll ask Mike when I see him. And I came around the corner and he was playing Miley Cyrus, and I was kind of a bit shocked. So, yeah, I thought it was good too. Obviously, like, there's no cool cachet in saying that, but just being truthful, yeah. When I first heard it, I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
It is, though. It is like I would say that Jolene is probably one of my favorite songs. Again, growing up on country music, and Dolly Parton is just so amazing and such a pioneer, not only for women, but just in music in general. And when you really love a singer or a song, you become very protective of it.
Right.
And if people don't do the cover right, it's bad news. And that is a great cover. It is really, really good. So I think the bigger question is, when she's capable of that, when she's as gifted as she is, and when she has the musical background and pedigree and connections to be able to do something like that, why is she doing Wrecking Ball?
Yeah, and that's where these songs sort of came from. Ashley and I, my girlfriend, were talking about this and sort of arguing about it. Not arguing, but debating whether she could have a career doing that sort of thing rather than doing songs like Wrecking Ball. And I think she could, but she probably wouldn't be making the multi-millions that she's doing stuff like Wrecking Ball. But I still think she could have a really good career doing, more true stuff like that.
Yeah, and the way I see it is, I think she could have a career either way. I think that the doing it the way with like the Jolene song, and that more kind of raw talent would be a harder way for her to do it. I kind of see the Wrecking Ball and all this extra publicity and all that stuff that comes along with it as almost like McDonald's fame.
Right.
So, she's young, she's attractive, she can do this and that to get her face in certain places and get that extra publicity. If she did it the other way, I think she could get to that level of publicity, but it would be more hard work because, she's not being plastered all over Us Weekly or whatever. So
yeah. So I get why, why they do those things, but it just seems sort of unnecessary when she's so talented and that, right? So
she's got a good voice.
Yeah,
she does.
And it's cool to hear it raw like that because she's got a very rich, warm voice. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think you were going to say something.
No, I just was going to say that I think that there's a lot of money to be made in pop music. People who do folk rock music aren't selling tickets to their shows. I mean, unless you're like the Rolling Stones, you're not selling tickets at like $200 a pop. Right. So if she wanted to do that, she has to be prepared to take a pay cut for sure. And it's going to be a lot more work because people who are into rock and folk type music are cynical,
Right.
we wouldn't, it would have made the transition from Hannah Montana to legitimate star a lot more difficult for her, but she could have done it. And I kind of hope she does. I hope that she uses this as a platform to maybe then, you know, reinvent herself again in like the next 2 years and
that's
pull back the reins a little bit.
It'd be interesting to see, you know, 5-10 years from now what she's doing.
Maybe it's all a plan. Maybe the plan is to use this what she's doing right now as a phase to break that childhood image that everybody has of her. And then once that's shattered, then it'll be a lot easier for her to move on from one adult phase to the next.
Right. Yeah. I think I'll just say one more thing and then maybe we'll move on from this topic before people get bored of hearing us talk about Miley Cyrus. I'm not a fan. I despise kind of manufactured pop and all that stuff, and I think it's got a lot to answer for in the music industry. Certainly that quick buck, let's make as much money as we can kind of thing. And I think the question for me with Miley Cyrus is, I don't know what her songwriting ability is like. So obviously Jolene's a cover and she's got a great voice, but lots of people have great voices and writing a great song is a lot more difficult. Whereas when you manufacture, the record label comes along and says, hey, record this song and, you know, we'll promote it and we'll get you to number one and we'll have you all over the billboards, and they sort of tell people who they should listen to. And I think I don't really know what she writes like. Right. And that's an important part of whether she'd be a success as well, totally. I think.
I just want to jump in there and say, just to kind of play devil's advocate, Sinatra didn't really write that many of the songs that he was famous for. In fact, I'm not really sure that he wrote any.
Yeah,
if I'm
there
not
are
mistaken.
A lot of bands that had writers and stuff.
Yeah,
like that,
so
right?
I kind of, just to play devil's advocate, I don't necessarily know why that's become such a thing in our culture. There are people who are gifted writers and aren't performers. And without the performers to perform their music, their beautiful words and melodies never reach the public. They never reach the ears that they were intended for. So I'm just not sure when it became such a thing that every artist to be considered legitimate has to write and create their own music.
No, it's a fair point too. I mean, it's the same with Elvis, right? He didn't write a lot of his songs, you know, and I love Elvis, Frank Sinatra, and so I'm not saying that, you know, singing is less of a talent than writing a good song. I do think that I do think nowadays there's a lot of manufactured pop. So, you know, people who are malleable are scooped up by the labels and they go, great, we can turn this person into a star. And it's not so much about whether they can sing great because, hey, we've got auto-tune and all these great features we can use on them. Right. They'll do what we want. They've got the right look. They're marketable to who we want to market to. Great. Just get them out there. And that's sort of what I don't like. Someone like Sinatra had an amazing voice and would have been an amazing singer in any era, singing any kind of music. So, you know, even though he was singing other people's songs, he wasn't manufactured in that same sense for me. It's a tricky distinction though, and at like 10:47, I'm maybe not doing it justice in my words and getting it out there very eloquently. But yeah, it's an interesting topic. Maybe we should move on though, unless you have anything.
Nope, that's fine.
We'll throw it up on Facebook, and you guys can tell us what you think of Miley.
Yeah, I know Mike's a big fan. Well, in that case, should we get on to another song?
Probably should,
for long enough. Cool. Well, our next song this week, just let me get to the right place here, comes from Ancient Mariner, and they're an unsigned. Actually, I don't know why I keep saying unsigned, because most of the acts that we have on the show are unsigned, for that matter. So I should probably just cut that out. Anyway, they're a two-piece dream folk indie rock act out of Minneapolis, and their song is called Acedia, which I believe in Latin means apathy.
Good to know.
Let's give it a listen.
Day
So once again, that was Ancient Mariner with Acedia. So a couple of things come to mind as I was introing Ancient Mariner's song there. First of all, I'm sure, I don't know this, but I'm sure the name is a reference to Samuel Taylor Coleridge's The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which happens to be one of my favourite poems. And I don't know if there's anybody else out there who really likes that one, but if you do, we're nerds together. We probably did English class. Well, we all did English class, you know what I mean. Anyway, I love that one. And secondly, I'm probably more interesting to you guys and everybody else out there listening as well. I realised something. And I actually realised it the other day, but saying Minneapolis reminded me of it. So do you remember a few episodes back when I couldn't say Massachusetts?
Yes.
You've
You're
been-
making progress.
Been practicing, yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is I'm blaming the microphone for it and just the pressure of the situation, because I had to say it the other day and I was fine. And I was like, damn, I can say it. And now everybody who listened to the podcast thinks I'm not very bright and orally challenged.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that can't say it.
Well, I just said it, so there. Anyway, but no, I've not been practicing or anything like that, but I just wanted to point out that you guys, will you please look at my growth.
Look at you grow.
I'm not orally challenged. I have a future. I'm not as dim as first fade. Anyway, so maybe we should just move on from here. I feel like I've been talking a lot tonight. You guys don't have anything you want to say, hey?
No, I feel like we've all been talking
Yeah.
plenty.
Okay, good. Any bones you want to pick?
Nope.
No.
Okay, good. All right, well, I guess it's time for our final song.
It's probably a good call.
Mike, I know you like to pick bones. You guys know what that phrase means, right? It's used here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just with you like giggling like school children, I thought maybe it was one that's not used.
No,
I
I
thought it was an
think-
English phrase.
I think it's just because we were doing fine and then it just felt like it got kind of like awkward silent moment.
Oh, I gave you some awkward silence, hey?
Yeah.
That's good for radio.
Yeah, it is. I think that silence sells.
Yeah.
Awkward silence is kind of my gift, though. I mean, you know, it's many a bar has seen an awkward silence after a cheesy pickup line. No, I'm just kidding. Not cool. Not cool. Anyway, our final song this week, let's just get there, hey, comes from the Travis Waltons, and they're a 5-piece rock band out of the UK. Now, these guys recently put out their debut album, and by recent, I mean this January, and they also put out their first ever music video. Now, there's a real cool story behind the video. And they got Aaron Paul, who to Breaking Bad fans is Jesse Pinkman.
Right.
And basically they got him to introduce the video, their debut video. They're this little band out of the UK.
Nice.
And he intros it in what we'll call his character's unique style, which...
Catchphrases.
yeah, catchphrase. You'll know what I mean. I don't know why I'm not saying it, because now as if we don't swear on the show, but anyway. Anyway, the video's for their song called Homewrecker, so check it out online. It's not the song we're going to listen to right now, but we recently posted an article about Aaron Paul introducing the video. It tells you how it came to happen and all that stuff. We posted it on our social media. So head on over to our Facebook page or Twitter and check it out if you're interested. But from the Travis Waltons, this song is called Millionaire. once again, that was the Travis Waltons with Millionaire. Now, you might be wondering why I never picked Homewrecker to play on the show, seeing as I mentioned the video and all that stuff, but it just so happens that Millionaire is my favourite song off the album so far, anyway. It may be that'll change, it usually does, but that's the one I'm liking right now, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. And that's it for this week's show, unless you guys have anything you want to say before we go.
I think we're good.
No, we're good.
Such a democracy this week, eh? Gonna go back to being a tyrant next week. Ping out some questions out there. Get Mike to cut out the answers that I give that I don't like. No, I'm just kidding. I never do that. Anyway, thanks to everyone out there for joining us. We really do appreciate it. We love you all in equal measure. Thanks for listening. That's it for this week's show. We'll see you next week for another round of this ridiculous podcast called Alt Rock Radio Now. And goodbye for now.